this week is the Dhamma Group 6, week 11. We will be covering the new group of Dhamma, which is called the first one. Today we will be exploring the idea of the six reverence or the six respect. The six reverence or the six respect is called the Garava. We get to know that in a moment. Second thing, we will be discussing the Saramiyadhamma, the virtue for fraternal livings. Make one lovable, make one likable, make harmonious into the groups, create unity into the group wherever you belong to. And we will be discussing something called the Āyatana. We will be talking about the Six Viññāṇa, the sense consciousness, and also we will discuss something called the Phassa, which is the contact, because they go together. I decided to add it on in the last minute because if missing one of these components, we will not see the complete picture of how they related to each other. Okay, start from the first one. I'd like to start from here. One of the teaching, the Buddha talked about something called the non-decline. The non-decline mean what? He said, respect for the teacher and for the teaching, and the keen respect for the Sanka. Okay, teacher mean the Buddha, right? Teaching mean the Dhamma, and the Sanka mean group of monks. A bhikkhu or anyone who respect heedfulness and hospitalities cannot decline and has drawn near to extinguishment. What it means by extinguishment? So in this case, the Buddha implied that if someone respect the Buddha, someone respect the Dhamma, and someone respect the Sanka, and that person also respect something called the practice of heedfulness or non-carelessness and the practice of hospitalities. So those people will not decline, cannot go to the lower realms, and they will get near to the extinguishment. Is point to the defilement, the mental defilements. We think of greed, hatred, delusions. The Buddha drag us, the Dhamma drag us, the Sanka drag us closer to Nibbana, to be able to fully extinguish the defilements from our mind. And that's called the non-decline. So what does it mean by the word Garava? Garava is from the Pali word. I don't know if you still remember last time we did talk about the heavy kamma. The heavy kamma, right? Karuna kamma. Garu mean heavy, mean serious. So the Garava Dhamma is the Dhamma that the Buddha suggests everyone to practice because it will lead us to the non-decline. It will lead us closer to Nibbana, to be better and to be the best version of ourselves. If we pay seriously attention to this Dhamma or the six Garava or the six esteem or the six respect. So the meaning of Garava, we need to understand this one first. Then we go to see what are those things that the Buddha suggests us to have fully respect. So the concept of recognizing, appreciating the virtue or positive qualities of a person or things, not just a being. A thing can be a place, can be a picture, to the extent that one feel compelled to express respect with genuine seriousness and sincerity. So please read this sentence carefully. That's the meaning of Garava. Because when we understand, oh, okay, this is what it means. It comes with the meaning. When we talk about Garava, it's not just respect. It's the respect that comes from the bottom of your heart. It's the respect that comes from you see that person, that thing, that place. It has a valuable, it has a meaning, and you feel deeply appreciated. So you show your gratitude, one way or another. Maybe you put your palms together, maybe you say something, maybe you do something that's showing respect toward that thing or that person because you appreciate the virtuous, you appreciate the goodness that you see toward that thing. There are 6 items on the list when it comes to something that we should pay respect. The first one, we respect the Buddha. Second one that we should respect is called the Dhamma. And the third one is called the Sanka. Okay, so these 3 things we learn already. We'll come back to this in a moment. And number 4, we respect the training. The training is the education or the sikha. I'll explain a little bit more in a moment. And we also need to respect the heedfulness, or non-carelessness, and the respect of hospitalities. There are 6 things that the Buddha suggests of us to pay respect. For the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sanka, this one we understand. We learn this from the Dhamma group 3, right? We learn about the triple gems, the meaning of the triple gems, and why should we respect the triple gems. We did talk about the Buddha. We did talk about his teaching or the Dhamma. We did talk about the Sanka or the group of monks. So the Buddha comprised many virtues, as we know. When we chant Iti Piso, Bhagava, Arahang Samma Sambuddho, on and on, that's we show respect by reciting the mantra or reciting the verse to respect the quality of the Buddha. The Buddha is self-enlightenment. Without the Buddha, we still trapped in the realm of existence. We still trapped in the realm of ignorance. Even though we still here in the cycle of existence, as long as the teaching of the Buddha or the Dhamma, this one, still exists, that means there is a possibility for us or for anybody to get to know this teaching and start walking down the path of realization, Nibbana, or the liberations. Then this realization of Nibbana or the mental liberation can be happening, because we just follow what the Buddha did, we just follow what the great monk in the past did. Then we should be able to realize the same result, which is the end of suffering. And the Sanka has the noble Sanka. Okay, the noble Sanka, they are the group of monks who achieve a certain level of enlightenment, start from the Sodapatana or the stream entry, all the way to Arahant. And another group of Sanka is called the conventional Sanka, which is, like myself. So we ordain and we still train ourselves. We still ongoing to continue to be better, to develop ourselves, body, speech, and mind. And hopefully one day we can become a part of the community of the noble Sanka as well. But anyway, Sanka is a group of monks, is a man who wants to become a monk, to study the teaching of the Buddha, not only to protect, to preserve, but to share the teaching of the Buddha to the world around him, to the communities, and perhaps to the world at large. That's the idea of someone becoming a monk or to join the Sanka communities. And how do we pay respect to the Buddha? There are many ways, right? You may have the Buddha image in your house. You may have the picture of the Buddha in your house. So you should find a proper place to hang that picture, to place that Buddha image. In most of the Buddhist people, they have little room that dedicate for the Buddha image. We call the Buddha room. I have a little one like this in my house as well. So me and my father, my mom, we usually go there to pay respect to the Buddha, to do the chanting together. It's a little room that we dedicate. And my dad has many collection of the Buddha image. So he make up the nice shelf, organize them nicely. So when we walk into that room, we feel sacred, we feel something special, we will feel like we have the Buddha in our house, so we feel protected. And we meditate, there's some energy there in that room. So when you go to the temple, there's a chapel. The chapel is considered as the home of the Buddha. The home of the Buddha. There will be the big Buddha image in each chapel throughout Thailand or wherever temple exists in this world. When you go to the main chapel, you will find one main Buddha image. In some temple may have several Buddha images, but the main one would be just one, the biggest one in the center. And when you walk into the chapel, you walk close to the Buddha. So you should remove your shoe, you should dress properly, you should be careful and mindful of your action when you're in front of the Buddha. That's the idea of how we should pay respect to the Buddha. And Thai people or Buddhist people, we don't point our feet toward the Buddha, toward the picture. So we have to be very, very careful. And most importantly to me, how do we show respect to the Buddha is to follow his teaching. Study Dhamma and put the Dhamma that you learn into practice. In my view, that's maybe the best way to pay respect to the Buddha. And in one teaching, the Buddha said, not just people offering flowers, offering candle, those offering, the material offering, cannot compare to someone who actually take my teaching into practice and realize what I really want you guys to realize, which is the true happiness inside yourself, which is the inner Dhamma that you can realize as well. And that's how you show respect to the Buddha. And when it's come to you showing respect to the Dhamma, what does it mean? The Dhamma in this case is the teaching of the Buddha. So wherever there is a Dhamma talk, wherever there is a Dhamma book that you can have access to, so you access to them properly. You sit into the crowd, you put the phone down, you listen to the Dhamma fully. You don't read newspaper, you don't talk to your friends. You just give respect to the Dhamma, because Dhamma is something that's difficult to be happening. Why is difficult? Because the Buddha have to exist first, and then the Buddha discover the Dhamma, and the Buddha share the Dhamma, and then someone have faith and go study the teaching of the Buddha that kept somewhere, and when he understand the Dhamma, he give the Dhamma talk, and he share the Dhamma that he learned. And this day the Buddha not exist, the Buddha not around, that the Dhamma kept in the books, in the Tipitaka, in the Buddhist text. If someone dedicate their time to study his teaching and share his teaching, and we have to be there to listen to his teaching or have access to that particular teacher who teach the Dhamma of the Buddha. So we should put our life, our ear, our eye, our heart fully into that particular teaching. That's how you show respect to the Dhamma. And don't just neglect that, oh, I learned this already. I know 5 precepts, I know meditation, I know dependent origination. It's not just about I know, and I know. The people usually say, oh, Dong Pi, you talk about the same thing. You talk about the Four Noble Truths again. I already know dukkha. And what caused dukkha is called tanha. And the nirodha is the ending of dukkha. And the makkha, or the Eightfold Path, is the way that leads us to free from dukkha. I know. But in fact, it's not just that. Dukkha is for us to understand. Do you have fully understood the concept of dukkha? And the cause of dukkha is for us to abandon. We have to abandon the cause of dukkha. Do you really fully abandon the cause of dukkha? How many conflicts and problems that you have on a day-to-day basis as you go through life? That means if your life still filled with suffering, that means you have not practiced the concept of the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path on your daily basis. And the Nirodha is something that you must realize that, hey, everything comes from cause. Problem has a cause. Your job is to identify that cause and find ways to remove it. And the Makkha, or the path that leads to the end of, or the cessation of the cause of dukkha, is available, which is called the Noble Eightfold Path. We must fully develop. Do you develop all of them? Right view all the way to the right concentration? If the answer is no, that means we have plenty of rooms to improve ourselves when it comes to pay respect to the Dhamma, right? And with the Dhamma books, with anything that related to the Dhamma, usually we keep it in a proper place. Okay, we don't step on it, we don't just throw it away. So we respect the teaching of the Buddha that kept in the books. That's how you show respect to the Dhamma book. And the Sanka, how do we show respect to the Sanka? Sanka is a group of monks. Monk is a man who ordained, who wants to be better, who want to seriously study the teaching, and who want to practice meditation to realize mental liberation someday down the road of his ordination. And the thing is, monk live by the support of the lay people. So if the lay people don't support the monk cannot survive. Monk don't make money. Monk don't have salary. The food that we eat come from the villager that offer us. The robe that we wear, the shelter, the medicine, the transportation, all of this is supported or provided by the faithful followers. So you can find time and find opportunities. Go to the temple that you have faith with, or the temple nearby your house, often, just to find way to support the Sanka. So the longer the Sanka communities continue to exist in this world, that means the longer of the life of Buddhism still exists, right? If no one become a monk, that means there will be only temple, and the temple cannot speak. The temple is not a living being, it's just the building. So we need to look through this picture together and find way to support, to make sure that the teaching of the Buddha still continue to exist in this world as long as possible. So that's the first three. And the next thing the Buddha said, you respect the Sikha. Sikha translates to training or education. to study, right? Why we have to study? This is very important because we were born with something called ignorance, and the opposite to ignorance is called vichya. Okay, so we can borrow the word wisdom again. The antidote for ignorance is vichya or wisdom or panya. Out of ignorance, we are trapped in the realm of existence. We have no idea why we're here. We have no idea where we're from, and we have no clue where we'll be going after we die. Not knowing that there is something called dukkha, not knowing that there's something that causes dukkha, and not knowing that dukkha can be end, and not knowing that there is a way to end dukkha. So in other words, we don't know about the Four Noble Truths, which realized by the Buddha himself. And then he shared this wisdom with us. So our job, whether you are a lay person or if you are a monk, then if you are a monk, you have no choice. You ordain for this. You sign up for this. You sign up to be the student of the Buddha, and you take his teaching seriously. That's why you live the lay life to become the monastic life, right? To join the monastic life, to walk down this highway of life toward Nibbana. So you don't want to waste your time, raising family, having kids, vacation, keep on working, continue to accumulate wealth. That's not what you want to do. So you decided to become a monk. And the Buddha give us the framework to study. We call the Trisikha. Tri mean three, right? So we study three things. All of his teaching that kept in the teaching in the Tipitaka can be grouped into three headings. The first heading is called the group of Sila, or the precept. The second group is called the mind development, or sometimes we call concentration, sometimes we call meditation, sometimes we call samadhi, but it's really mean develop the quality of the mind. The first sila is about you develop the quality of your bodily action and verbally action, make sure they are pure. And the third one that we should train ourselves or educate ourselves is to get to know the teaching or the panya, so we can realize the true nature of things, and perhaps one day we can realize nibbana or have the mind fully liberated from the tense or from the defilements. So we should respect the training. We should continue to study. We should continue to develop ourselves, and we should continue to open up for criticism, welcome comments, so we can grow, we can be better. So you can apply this into your worldly life too, right? If you newly graduate, you work on the job, you become the manager, and along the way you start accumulate all kind of experience, and maybe sometimes you may need more education. So you may go for the master degree, you may go for another PhD or whatever it is. Just continue to learn so you can be better in the career that you are working on, and that's called the respect for the education. And these days some people just neglect to continue to study. When was the last time you read books? We tend to be lazy, right? We tend to don't have time for this stuff, but we have more time toward entertainment, and that's something that perhaps we should pay attention, because this is happening to the world around us, our children, our friends. Most people that I know usually neglect when it comes to reading books. That means if you don't read, you don't grow your wisdom. Your mind will shift towards something else. There are all kinds of distraction out there. And the next one is called reverence for heedfulness. How do we pay respect? How do we respect the heedfulness? We did talk about the apinha pachawek, right? Apinha pachawek khana, something that the Buddha suggests both monk and the lay people to reflect on a daily basis. Daily basis, not just one time. The more the merrier. You keep on reflecting on this. It helps you to stay sharp. It helps you to stay focused on your day. It helps you to stay on the side of heedfulness, not heedlessness. The first one is about old age. So don't be careless. Don't think that, I'm still young, I have more time to live. That's careless. Death, when it's come, nobody knows. People can die at a young age. People can die at a teenager. People can die, when they get old. People can die normally, 80 years old, 100 years old. So, but it can come any moment. We just have no idea. And some people may feel like, I'm still young. Not only I'm still young, I am healthy. I never been ill in the past 5 years. My body is work fine. I believe I can live long. Thinking like that is called carelessness. And that, again, I already said that, right? People, usually when we go to the funeral, We never thought that one day we will be there on that coffin and people will come to our funeral. Most people go to the funeral and have no idea what to do. Just sit there and talk to friends. How have you been doing? How is your son? How is your business? They don't know what to do in the funeral. But going to the funeral, we really, if you pay attention, you really pick up a lot of wisdom to reflect that help you to live life, mindfully from that moment onward. Because the next body may be yours. Death may come at any moment. Every organ in the body can stop function in any moment, and we have no control over it, and we have no idea when and how and where that's gonna be happening to us. And the third one will be separated. The fourth one will be separated from the thing, whether we like it or we don't like it. Human, animal, object. At this moment, you may have good relationship, good health, good job, good career, and you feel like you have full control over all of these things. But the Buddha said, separation may come. Don't be careless. Separation may come. So prepare for that. Live life mindfully. And the last one, he talks about deed. Deed or work or action refer to karma. This is another important Buddhist principle that everyone should find time to study more. When we talk about karma, right? The Buddha discovered the law of karma. He did not create it. Whatever we do is come back to us, good and bad. Every action comes with consequence, especially the action with intention. Good intention or bad intention is come back to us. There's nothing get lost in this universe. So you are the owner of your karma, right? The Buddha said the heir. You are the heir of your deed. The heir is our relative. The heir is our refuge. I shall be the heir of whatever deed, action or karma I do, whether good or bad. The law of karma itself, the concept is very clear and very simple. But when it's come to how the karma take effect, that's very complicated. We don't have that ability to understand how it works, how it functions yet. But here the Buddha said clearly, whether good or bad that you do, you are responsible for that action. So you should be mindful and only choose to do good thing. And the next one is called the reverence for the hospitalities. When someone come to your house, you should make sure that you welcome them, take care of them well. Okay? So hospitalities, the temple like this, when people come to our temple, our staff would take care of them well and give them food. And my master always said, if someone come to our temple, make sure that they have something to eat. Make sure that they have a chance to listen to the Dhamma, and make sure that they have a chance to practice meditation. And that's what's very clever. So there are two things that we can give, right? Hospitalities, you can think of material things. You can think of food, of clothes, of water, of shelter, so people can live comfortably when they come to you. But another thing that not many people aware that this is something we can give too, right? So we can help them to get to know the Dhamma, help them to practice the giving or the dana, help them to understand the precept, help them to perhaps have a chance to actually sit and meditate. That's another level of hospitalities that the Buddha suggests everyone to practice. Okay, so in fact there are 6 things that the Buddha suggests in this Garava, or the 6 kinds of respects. Respect the Buddha, respect the Dhamma, respect the Sanka, respect the education, respect the heedfulness, and respect the hospitalities. And this will lead you to get closer to Nibbana and non-decline. Okay, the more you get a chance to hang out with the Buddha, hang out with the Dhamma, hang out with the Sanka, right, and welcome people with sincerities, okay, and get closer to the teaching of the Buddha all the time. Keep yourself in the circle of learning and stay mindful. Not stay mindful means you practice heedfulness, not carelessness. All of this will lead you to be a happy man, a happy person, and perhaps will be realized, Nibbana or the ultimate happiness, someday in the future. So next we move on to Saramiyadhamma. The Buddha once says, amongst these 6 are conditions that conducive to amiability, that engender feelings, endearment, engender feeling of respect, leading to sense of fellowship, lack of dispute, harmony and state of unity. Okay, dispute, unities, and harmony. These are the key terms or the keyword when it comes to this particular Dhamma. We are not alone, right? We're human beings. Wherever we go, we meet with people. We have family, we have companies, we have friends at school, at work. So make sure that you are not the one who caused the problem to people that you live with. And this Dhamma is something that the Buddha suggests us to have that kind of abilities to live in peace and harmony with others. There are 6 things. The first one is that something we call deed mean action, right? Action. What you do. Word mean what you say. Thought mean what you think. Do things with the kind heart, say things with the kind heart, and thinking with the kind heart toward the people around you, openly and in private. And number 4, to share mean to give, right? Any lawful gains with virtuous fellows. So as a monk, when we go alms round, we have 10 monks in the temple, 3 monks go alms round in this village, another 3 monks go alms round in another village. When they come back, they put the food together and then they share, okay, according to the Pante order. Pante means the senior monk first and then the junior monk later. So allow the senior monk to take, but whatever we receive, we share. This is how you create unity, right? You don't just take everything for yourself. We need to find way to give, find way to support each other. In the real world as well, right? You need parents, wife, children, friend at school, colleague at work. You find way to on the special occasion, okay, or maybe in the daily basis, we can find way to give, find way to make people happy. You share, okay, share what you have. Maybe just a cup of coffee, maybe lunch box or anything that you can make people around you feel happy. The more you give, the more you gain. The more you give, the more you gain. Okay, you gain respect, you gain credibilities. You are a man of kind heart. And number 5, to keep without blemish in the rules of conduct, along with one fellowship. Now we're talking about sila. If someone in the family, husband don't observe precept, but wife observe precept, then there is a problem, because precept is not in the same level, and they don't have the same right understanding or right view. In this case, number 6, the Buddha said, endow with the right view, or titi. So these 2 things, again, they go together. With the wrong view, or not the same level of view, not the same level of precept. When people live together, they always create conflict. If the one monk observe precept strictly, and one monk just keep on neglect the precept, okay, this is just a little, don't worry about it. It's okay, I'll do morning chanting tomorrow. It's okay, today you go alms round, I'm not going. That's the view is different. The action, that's why the action is different. And that's why that group of people will end up having more and more conflict, problem. If husband go drink and wife doesn't drink, right? When the man came home, he get drunk, and then he create problem in the family. He spend money lavishly to gambling, to partying, to womanizing, and that create problem in the family because they don't have the same level of precept. You see the picture, right? So 5 ways to give, 5 ways to give. Often, give doesn't mean you have to give money. Doesn't mean you have to give object. You can give in the kind word, right? You can say the beautiful things, which is here. The Buddha said, say good thing, say good, do good, and think good. These called the 3 goods. Just to keep it simple. You think good toward your friend. You have positive will toward your friends. You don't all of a sudden make judgment on people. The reason they act like that may be something that you don't fully understand. So don't just right away, getting angry or getting agitated of someone's behavior. So you have to be kind. Think good, say good, and do good. And share what you have. Don't be stingy. And make sure you observe precept. If you are a lay person, you start from 5 precepts. And from time to time, like I always suggest, 5 ways to observe 8 precepts. And then if you are a monk, of course, you observe more than 200 rules, right? So you have to get to know the rules and make sure everyone on the same page. And not just the rule. The temple has the daily schedule that all the monks follow. What time do we wake up? What time do we go for the morning chanting? What time do we meditate? What time do we eat? What time do we clean the temple? We do things together. If any temple at all, and the monk in the temple just neglect the daily routines, I'll do whatever I want, I do whenever I want, then you can expect conflict, you can expect problem in your surrounding, in your communities, whether at home, at work, at school, or even in the temple. So make sure you observe precept, and precept always come with manner, not just what you can do, what you cannot do. It's about what you should and what you should not do, what you should say, what you should not say too, what you should behave, what you should not behave too. There's more to it. And of course, the last one is also probably the most important one, with will. What we think, then we say, then we do. It become our behavior. So you must develop the right view first. And everyone in the community, in the group, in the family should develop the same view. I become a monk, I want to study the teaching of the Buddha, I want to realize Nibbana just like the Buddha did. So if anyone have the same view, welcome on board. Someone become a monk, no, I don't want to study the teaching of the Buddha, I just want to just stay low and sit back and relax. And that is your view. And with this person have this view, and another monk has different view. When they stay together, they end up having conflict. Because one monk will always show up for the morning chanting, meditation, reading book. And another monk will do whatever he wants, whenever he wants. And when they together, 5 monks, 10 monks, if one person have the view like that, think like that, act like that, he will create the conflict to the group. That's the importance of this Dhamma. Okay, so please make sure you go back and reflect on this and put into practice. Okay, so we covered 2 of them already. Now we're going to get to the last part, which is the most difficult part. So let's take a few good deep breaths before we move on. Now get to the heaviest one of today's Dhamma topic. So I decided to combine them together instead of break them up piece by piece, and later on we will get confused because they are the Dhamma that go together. Instead of talking about the Āyatana or the sense field and the Viññāṇa or the sensory consciousness, I decided to add on another one. It's called contact. It's called contact. So let's group them together and learn all together. If you are new to this, okay, it's okay. Take your time because the Dhamma study, even though it's called considered elementary level, but all of this is not easy at all. Some of them come from the advanced teaching of the Buddha. Some of them aiming at liberation. Some of them talk about the precept. Some of them talk about the forgiveness, right? But in this case, this one, we talk about liberation. But we just don't know why and how we can liberate after we know all of this. We need to be able to connect the dot. Because the teaching is sporadically spread throughout the Buddhist text. You may study the 5 aggregate one time, you study the Āyatana or the sense-based one time, you study the Viññāṇa one time, and you don't know how to connect them together. You don't know how they related to each other. Okay? Today let me help you with that. Āyatana, Viññāṇa, and Phassa, they are Pali terms. Okay? The Āyatana, you think of the sense fields. Sense fields. Sense field mean what? Sense mean eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, right? This is 5 sense field. And then there's another sense field called the mind. That's called Salayatana in the dependent origination, point to the 6 sense field, including the mind. And the Viññāṇa has several meanings, right? The sensory conscious, this is the one that we focus on today. But in other teaching, Viññāṇa can mean life force, can mean the mind. The mind has many names. The Viññāṇa, the Mano, 13, 14, 15 names that's explained in the Abhidhamma. But we don't go to all of that. It's going to be more information. It's going to be more confusing. For now, we'll be focusing on this thing. So human being, we know that we have body and mind. Everyone seems to know that. And if we zoom into deeper to the concept of 5 aggregate, we know that the mind and the body also composed of something else too. So the rupa is the body. The body composed of earth, water, fire, air, right? Earth is something solid, teeth, nail, bone. Water is something cohesive, right? We have liquid in the body. The fire, we have temperature in the body. And the air, we have gas, right? We have space in the body. That's a general idea of the dhatu or the elements in the body. These four things make body the body. The mind also has four things that make the mind, or the function of the mind. It has something called feeling or Vedana. The mind can feel. It has sanya or perception. The mind can memorize. The mind can perceive and know what it is, right? The mind has ability to formate the thought, we call sankhara or mental formation. And the mind has ability to know, we call consciousness or viññāṇa. These are the five aggregates. So we need to know them because this is how human being we interact from inner world to the outside world, the world around us. We live in the realm of sense-based. When we see things, hear things, that information from the outside world can go through our mind to those five doors. To see the picture, that picture come to your eye and go to the mind, and the mind investigate what is this thing. If you've seen that before, if you know that before, you know, oh, this is the flower, and this flower called the rose, and this rose flower has red color. So all this information automatically adding up and give you the meaning of that object right away that you see. When you see the dog, you know the dog. When you see the cat, you know the cat. If a man born in this world and never seen the cat before, so he don't have that information, right? He may have doubt, what is this kind of animal? And then he check up on the website, he ask his friend, he look up the Wikipedia, and he know this is the dog. And from that moment onward, he memorized this kind of creature, this kind of animal is called the dog. This is how we interact, the interaction between the inner world and the outer world through the five sense door. If the man born blind, he cannot see anything from the moment that he born until the day that he died. He have no idea what is how BMW look like, how iPhone look like. Unless someone try to explain to him verbally, he can hear the sound and he can visualize according to what he heard. But he never seen or never saw that phone or that whatever person try to describe to him, because there is no eye contact. The eye is malfunction. The eye is blind. But if ordinary human being like us, good eye, good ears, good nose, good tongue, good body, so we can feel, can hear, can touch. We can welcome all information come to our mind through this five sense door, and it go to the mind, and the mind give the meaning to what it is that coming through that eye, what it is that coming through that ear, what kind of sound, what kind of picture, what kind of smell. And not only that, the mind has ability to something called mental formation. It has ability to elaborate what it perceives, right? And that's where the problem, that's where the dukkha coming in. That's where the tanha is give rise to tanha, and then dukkha follow. So the idea of learning the teaching of the Buddha is how to end dukkha, how to be happy. So in order for us to be happy, we need to know how this five aggregate work, how this the sense-based work, how this tanha, okay, that's get involved in this process of receiving information on a day-to-day basis. So we get to know the internal and the external sense field in a moment. We call Āyatana, from the eyes, from the ear, from the nose, from the touch, from the tongue, and from the mind. And we also have something called the Vyana. Vyana translate to consciousness. There are six kind of Vyana. The eye consciousness is called Chakku Vyana. Chakku Vyana, that means you have eye consciousness. Then you can see and you know what it is. If there's no eye consciousness, and you wouldn't know what it is, even though you can see the object, but the eye consciousness is not there. So you may not recognize what is that thing, what is that flower, what is the name of that person, even though you know the person, but the eye consciousness is not there. So I will give you an example in a moment. Ear consciousness, Sota Viññāṇa. Sota means ear. So you have consciousness of hearing the sound. You can have consciousness of the nose, smell something. We call Khana. Khana means nose. Khana Viññāṇa. The consciousness of smelling something, of knowing what is that smell. The tongue consciousness, the ability to know the taste, is called Shivha, Jiva Viññāṇa. And the body consciousness, sometimes we call Shivha Viññāṇa. Another one is called body consciousness. It's called kaya. Kaya means body. Kaya Viññāṇa. The body can when we touch, right, we can feel something. So we have the body consciousness that this is coarse, this is refined, this is soft, this is tough. We know that. And we also have the mind consciousness or the mano viññāṇa. Again, this one, the one that we talked in the last group of Dhamma today, is considered advanced. Okay, so let's see if we can understand this together. Let me go through this information first. And the phassa or the contact. Phassa means contact. There is an importance of the word phassa. For now, let's get to know there are 6 things. We have 6 doors, right? So we have 6 sense sphere. We have 6 sense base. And we have 6 consciousness. The consciousness of the eye, ear, nose, tongue, touch. And now the same thing. We have the contact. We call eye contact. Eye contact is jakkhu phassa. The ear contact is sota phassa. The nose contact is kana phassa. The tongue contact is jivha phassa. The body contact is kaya phassa. And the mind contact is mano phassa. Okay, sometimes you hear the word samphassa. In Thai we use this word a lot. We call samphat or samphassa in Pali. They sound similar, right? They go to the same manner. The eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body, and mind. So 5 here plus 1 mind, it equals 6 Āyatana, 6 sense field. So if we put them into the picture in one slide, this is the sense field, which is again the eye, the ear, the nose, the body, and the tongue, okay, and the mind. So all of them, they consider the Āyatana, the sense field, the eye consciousness. The Āyatana is a sense field. The Viññāṇa is the consciousness. And the phassa is a contact. We have eye, is the door of seeing. We have ear, is the door of hearing. We have nose, is the door of smelling. We have tongue, is the door of tasting. And we have body, is the door or the sense field of touching, of knowing what we touch. And we have the mind, is another door. It's called the door of the mind. This door can perceive the object too. Okay? It's called mind, mano viññāṇa. The mind can know, the mind can contact. This is another field. But these 5 things, the eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body, this door can only perceive something in this very present moment. It cannot perceive something in the past, something yesterday. You cannot go back and smell something from yesterday. You cannot go back and see a picture from yesterday. And you cannot see the picture of tomorrow or hear the sound of tomorrow. It's not coming yet. It has to function in this very moment only. But the mind, the door of the mind, is something special. It can perceive information in the past, last week, last month, last year, last 5 years, or even from the previous life. That's the mind. That's the special characteristic of the door of the mind. You may have a good meditation experience. You may have a good meditation experience last week. And today you sit, you want to feel the same. So you think of how did you do it last week? How come you felt very good? So you record that experience and use that meditation object in this very moment. That's the mind. But for the 5 sense door, it has to perceive information in this very moment only. But the thing is, whatever it perceived in the past, it will keep in the mind for a very long time. It cannot be removed. I try to come up with the picture so you perhaps it helps you to understand better. So this is the door, right? The sense door. When we perceive something, we memorize that, okay, this is the dog, this is the cat, this is a man, this is a woman. We perceive, we memorize, and then thinking happening. There's a mental formation. Okay, do you like that dog? Do I like that dog or I don't like the dog? Do I like the flower? I don't like the flower. Do I like this person or I don't like that person? Then the feeling happens. When the feeling happens, usually there's another guy called craving, which they're always there. They're always there. When we feel, then we like it, we go after it. We don't like it, we either run away from it or fight with it or try to destroy it. That's a craving. And usually when the action drive by the tanha, a man will end up suffering. That's why we need to be careful what we perceive. we need to be, I'm sorry, sometimes it's difficult to protect the eye from seeing thing, from hearing thing, right? So when the eye see, it see. When the ear hear the sound just come and go to the ear and go to the mind. All we have to do, the best we can do is to be mindful when we perceive those information, because there are 6 kind of tanha, and when it gives rise to tanha from what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, what we touch, what we think, then we usually end up having a certain kind of problem. The tanha that come from seeing, the eye see the form, I like it, I don't like it. The ear hear the sound, I like this sound, I don't like this sound. I agitated or I'm feel peaceful, depends, right? And the smell, tanha can come from the smell. When you smell, you like, you don't like. The taste, the food that you eat, you like, you don't like. The object that you touch, the clothes that you wear, is it soft or is hard? Is something that you like or you don't like? You give the meaning to it. You have mental formation. You have ability to formulate your thought based on the tanha that's happening in that particular moment. And you also have like the tanha can come through the mind, through the mental object. Like I said, I crave for last week meditation experience. It was so good, but today too many thoughts. I have no peace. I don't like today meditation, but I like the meditation from last week. So we crave for that, and when we crave with that agitated mind, we hate this session. We like the previous session. In this particular session, we cannot be happy. The mind cannot be at peace. So you need to be very careful from this sense door. That's why the skill that the Buddha suggests all the monks and the lay people to practice when it comes to the spiritual development is called guarding your sense door. So develop this skill. When you see, you don't elaborate. When you hear, you don't elaborate. You be mindful with those information that come through your sense door. And this is the reason why, we have all kind of emotion happening each day. Morning happy, late morning unhappy, afternoon cry, evening sad, at night get excited about something. This is human. This is how we go through life, and we have no idea why we behave like that. What was or what is the driving force behind each particular emotion or feeling that arise? What make us cry? What make us laugh? What make us exciting? What make us crave for this, crave for that? We have no idea. And the Buddha show us the detail of how all of this suffering, feeling pain, feeling sad, feeling down, feeling depressed, worry, all of this, how do they come about in the detail of the dependent origination. But today I'm not go to all of this. I just want to pinpoint you something that is relevant to what we are learning. Ignorance, we know, right? The starting point of all sufferings, because we don't know that we don't know, so we behave wrongly. There is something called tanha. This is the second noble truth. This is the cause of suffering. But in fact, there's more than just craving that cause us suffering. There are 3 things. In this picture, you see the first thing is called ignorance. The second thing is called tanha. The third thing is called upadana or clinging. There are 3 defilements that cause human suffering. But before that, there's something called feeling or Vedana. And before Vedana, there is something called contact or phassa. Something called phassa. By knowing this cycle or this process, it benefits us in many ways to deal with suffering. If you guard your sense door, you may see something, right? But if you know that there's a contact happening, but if you're mindful, then it doesn't give rise to tanha that much, because you guard your sense door. Like I said, if the man born blind, the eye cannot see. So whatever he try to see, he cannot see. So there is no defilement give rise in his mind through the door of seeing. But the defilement can give rise to some other door. When he hear the sound he like, he crave for it. When he taste the food he like, he crave for it. When he eat the food he doesn't like, he hate it. So the mind get agitated. That is called contact that happening. So by knowing this process, it helps us to understand how dukkha come about. And when we know how dukkha come about, we can do something about it. We can lessen the power of tanha by being mindful, by guarding our sense door, by do our best to monitoring how we feel, right? Otherwise, if we give rise to tanha, and when tanha happen, it continue by clinging. We crave for it, we cling on it, and then we end up suffering. Okay, so let's go to another chart today. Here is what we just talked about. I will have another chart in a moment that's maybe help us to understand a little bit better, but let's start from here first. When we have sense faculty, right? Sense faculty is this one. We have eye, ear. The eye see the form, the eye see the object, and there is an eye consciousness arise. And when these three things happening, or when these three things are in place, we call contact. The process of contact is complete, and this is the starting point of the journey of suffering or happiness. Because when you see something and you recognize what that thing is, you have ability to formulate your thought. You have ability to elaborate your thinking. It's the second after you perceive, then you think, right? You elaborate your thinking. Oh, I don't like it, or I like it. And with this contact, it gives rise to Vedana, or feeling. What you see, you like or you don't like, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. And then it gives rise to craving or tanha. If you like, you want more of it. If you don't like, you run away from it, right? And then we end up suffering because our mind has greed, hatred, and delusion and ignorance that kept in the mind. It's just waiting for the right trigger, and then it will take action. It will force us to do things that we not normally do when we are mindful or when we have conscious. Like I said, you see something that you just come out of your meditation, and all of a sudden you go to the mall, and you see maybe the new shoes, new shirt. You like it, the color, the style. You don't need it, but the craving, what you see, right? What you see go through your eye, and the mind give the meaning. Hey, the shirt look good on you. The shirt, this color is good for you. Let's go buy it. So you have the feeling that, hey, I like the shirt. And the craving guy said, you know what, go ahead and buy it. And you end up buying it even though you don't need it. Okay, some of you may be even worse because you don't even have enough money to afford it. You use your credit card, you borrow someone money, and you end up suffering at the end. Okay, this is how the process of dukkha that's happening through this five sense door. Okay, this is the complete picture. We have the inner world. The inner world is inside us, right? The sense base. We have eye to see. We have eye can see the form. We have ear to hear the sound. We have nose can smell the smell. We have tongue can receive the taste. We have body, so we can perceive the touch, the contact of the body. And we have the mind that can perceive the mind object. Okay, this is called the sense based on the orange color, and the blue color we call the sense object. Eye see form, the ear hear the sound, the nose can smell, the tongue can taste, the body can touch, the mind can perceive the mind object. Okay, and in this contact or interchangeable or interchange or this change, the change exchanging of information is called phassa. You have eye conscious, then you know what it is, right? And it's go to the mind. It become your thinking. There are two levels of thinking. The first thinking is perception. You perceive, you think, you know, oh, this is the dog, this is the cat, this is a man I like, this is the man I have conflict with. And then the mental formation is the second level of thinking. You start to formulate your thing that, hey, I don't like it, let me do something about it. Or I like it, let me do something about it. It becomes the feeling. When you feel the feeling that drive by tanha, again, it becomes the behavior. And then we end up suffering because of the thinking that elaborate by the craving or the tanha. And I really want to open up your eyes to this advanced teaching of the Buddha by go through this series of lecture together. So we will come across, advanced Dhamma along the way from time to time. Of course, this is one of them. So I have the sutra that relevant to what we just learned. And it is considered as advanced. It's aiming at liberation. And let's see how the Buddha explained all of this that we just learned together from this presentation. This is the name of the sutra. It's called Chula. Chula means small. Rahula Ovata Sutra. The Majjhima Nikaya 147. So the Buddha gave the teaching to Venerable Rahula, which happened to be his son. Okay, Rahula ordained, and he was very talented monk. He always respect the education. Every day when Rahula wake up, he would grab the sand in his hand, and he would make a wish that today let me learn something new knowledge, the same amount as the sand in my hand. Let me, please allow me to meet with good teacher, hearing the good teaching. How many teachers? So he go out and find teacher. He just continue to learn. He's a man of wisdom because he have respect toward education. So the Buddha gave this particular teaching to Rahula because on that occasion, the Buddha see through his meditation that today is the day that Rahula will realize enlightenment or Nibbana, achieve enlightenment, become Arahant. So the Buddha go there and give him this teaching. He said, Rahula, what do you think? Is the ear permanent or impermanent? And the same manner, the Buddha asked the same question. What about the nose? Impermanent or permanent or impermanent? What about the tongue? What about the body? Are they permanent or impermanent? And the answer is no, they're not impermanent, sir. What about the mind object? What about the mind consciousness? What about the mind contact? Is anything comprised within the feelings, perception, formation, and consciousness that arise with the mind contact as condition? Are they permanent or impermanent? The answer from Rahula was impermanent, sir, Venerable sir. Is what is impermanent dukkha or happiness? The answer is suffering, sir. Is what is impermanent and suffering or dukkha and subject to change fit to be regarded thus this is mine, this is I am, and this is myself? And the answer from Rahula is no, Venerable sir. Rahula can follow the teaching, and he understood what the Buddha is trying to teach him. This is the concept of anatta or non-self. It's nothingness. The ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, the mind object, the mind consciousness, the mind contact, the ear object, the ear consciousness, the ear contact, the nose object, the nose consciousness, on and on. All of this they consider impermanent. The Buddha said, permanent or impermanent? And the answer is impermanent, sir. What it means by impermanent? Impermanent means it's keep on rising and falling moment to moment. It cannot remain the same. And whatever cannot remain the same, if we cling on it, we will definitely end up suffering. But us, we are ignorant beings. We always cling on something, someone, all the time. And we believe that we can sustain or secure that happiness, something that we cling on. We cling on relationship, we cling on the social status, we cling on our business, we cling on whatever it is, human, animal, object, money, fame, credibilities. We cling on a lot of things without aware that, hey, they don't worth clinging on. It's okay that we can feel grateful for who we are and what we have, but we also have to understand the nature of things too. But things can go wrong, things can go apart because everything is subject to change, is impermanent. And Rahula understood this fully. So what is impermanent, suffering, and subject to change cannot regard that this is mine, this is I am, this is myself. That's what it means. And then the Buddha continued, seeing thus, Rahula, a well-taught noble disciple, become disenchanted. This is a very beautiful word. He become disenchanted. With what? With the eye, disenchanted with the forms, disenchanted with the eye consciousness, disenchanted with the eye contact, disenchanted with anything comprised within the feeling, perception, formation, and consciousness. Again, these things are what? There are 5 aggregates that arise within the eye context as condition. Being disenchanted, he becomes dispassionate. Through dispassionate, his mind is liberated. This is another wonderful teaching of the Buddha. This enchanted is viraka. Viraka mean absence of passion, or in other words, another meaning of raka is color. That means there's no color, no more color add to it. It is what it is. The five aggregates, it is what it is. It's emptiness, it's nothingness, it's nothing that worth clinging on. When one sees this by a perfect wisdom, one mind will be liberated, and that's what happened to Venerable Rahula. Okay, with this enchanted, the mind become dispassionate. Dispassionate from what? From sense pleasure, right? We call from tanha. Tanha has three kinds of tanha, right? The sense pleasure. Dispassionate from becoming. Dispassionate from disbecoming. Dispassionate from ignorance. It's become dispassionate, and then the mind is liberated completely liberated. That means the mind overcome ignorance. The mind fully understood the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path in that very moment. And that's what happened to Venerable Rahula. There's another one that's before we finish, which is again is relevant, is go together. And we did talk about this already when I talk about the five aggregates. Just recap and connect dots for you. So when you learn, you understand better. The five aggregate monks are anicca. Anicca means impermanent. Whatever is impermanent, it is dukkha. Okay. Anything that consider impermanent, they have another nature which is called dukkha. Dukkha comes in the sense of being oppressed, unsatisfying, concern, worry, being oppressed. The reason is being oppressed because it changes moment to moment, right? It's not stay still. That's why it's being oppressed is unsatisfactoriness. Whatever is oppressed, whatever is unsatisfactoriness is without self. That means you cannot control. You have no authority to control this phenomena, this conditioned thing that is continue to change, and nothing much you can do. What is without self, that is not mine, that I am not, that is not myself. That should be seen by perfect wisdom as it really is. Who see by perfect wisdom as it really is, his mind not grasping, again, no craving. Another name of the tanha. The mind detached from tense, he is liberated. Okay, 10 point to ignorance, okay, point to tanha, point to avijja. So the mind liberated from all the mental defilements. When one see things as they really are, that five aggregate, there's no I in it. It's just the conditioned phenomena. There's no you in you. There's no I in my body. But for us, we don't have that ability to see. We don't have the inner eye or the Dhamma eye to see things the way they are. That's why we so much clinging on things around us. We so much clinging on human, animal, object, credibility, fame, relationship, health. We cling on everything in our life, and we end up suffering because we're not knowing. Okay, not knowing that the mind is trapped in the realm of ignorance. We are so ignorant. Okay, so with that, that should be it for today. There's a lot of information to go back and reflect on what we learned, so you understand better when you relearn for the second time, the third time. And this is the reference.